What's up, guys? How we doing?
Thanks a lot. Hey, do you feel less pressure playing quarterback here than you did in Tampa?
I think when you got a great team that's around you, you definitely can, be a little bit more confident because you know that, you're going to get opportunity after opportunity with a great defense. You could depend on a great offensive line and one of the best running backs in the league.
And there's a narrative going around, bear with me on this, that there's no trust yet between you and Sean Payton. How do you feel about that? You feel that he trusts you?
Well, I know I trust him with everything I got, and I'm getting adjusted to his system. Like this is his team. He's been here for a long amount of time, so I have to fit in. When you've had so much success as a head coach, with your offense, with the way that you do things, I'm getting adjusted to that, and I've been loving it. I've been loving how efficient we've been being. I've been loving it, having a lot off my plate, but obviously I want more, but that has to be earned, and week by week, I'm gonna have opportunity to earn it.
Speaking of Sean, after last week's game, he said, can't get it back. It is what it is, but it's important that everybody learns something from this. So now that you've had a little time to digest and watch film, what did you learn?
Yeah, we have to finish. I think that's one of the most important things. Like with the type of people we have on this team, like we have finishers. But in a game like that, especially at home or really wherever you're at, you have to finish as a unit, offense, defense, special teams, and we have to step on our opponent's neck. Like it's simple as that. Like we have to pace our will over them and finish that game with a victory.
How do you practice that?
That's a mentality. You don't practice that. That comes from where you come from. And we got a lot of guys like that. We got a lot of guys that are just winners. Sean Payton, he's a winner. We know how to win here. And that's one of the keys to winning is finishing your opponent when they're down and not allowing them to come back.
Jameis, when you broke down the game tape from this one, and I know the finish wasn't what you wanted, but how did you grade your own performance? What did you think about how you played?
This was probably one of my better games this year, but we didn't finish. And I promise you I'd rather play a game where I didn't like my tape and we win than I play a game where I say, hey, I did okay and we lose. Like that's just not in my DNA. Like I would rather win than anything.
You talked a lot about the one 2 weeks ago that threw up to Callaway in the end zone and he went and got it, and whether or not that was a decision, whatever. There didn't seem to be any dangerous throws at all in this game. Would you agree with that? That you were able to stay out of problematic situations?
Yeah, coach really helped me get into a nice rhythm. We got hot, toward the end of the second half. Really heading to the fourth, we got real hot there. So I was thankful that he got me into a nice rhythm. But some games you're gonna have to make plays like that, and some games you just have games like that where good things happen. But obviously we didn't win. So,
Jameis, what is your take on Alvin Kamara's lack of targets in the passing game? I know in this game he was used differently after Tony left. But is that something you want to get more involved in?
Alvin is probably my primary on most, and defenses know that. So it's their job to take away our best player. But when you take away our best player, he's still getting a buck on you every week. That's the best part of playing quarterback with a guy who is as versatile as him. Defense fear him more in the passing game than they do in the running game. But I do believe that we're doing some good things in the passing game that's going to open up him a little bit more with these weeks to come.
A minute ago, Jameis, when Jeff asked you about the trust or Sean's trust in you, you said you have to earn that. Do you feel like in this game, maybe once you look at the tape, that maybe you did earn some of that?
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, this man has been here for 16 plus years, and he's been coaching Drew Brees, a Hall of Fame quarterback. Like, our relationship in terms of like handing me over the keys, like this is something that like he just didn't hand over the keys to Drew in his first 4 games. Like this is a relationship that's going to be built, and obviously as we find more of an identity offensively, we're going to have different things that like he trusts me more in this situation than that situation, right? Like that's how football works, right? That's like me with the receiver. Like I'm gonna trust, a certain receiver in this situation versus that situation. So it's really just a feel because he's our play caller too. You know, and when you got a guy like Alvin Kamara, and you know, when you got trust in this dominant defense that we've had here, you have to be that way. You know what I'm saying? You got to trust your gut, and he's been really good at doing that. So like I said, like I trust him, so I know that's gonna come.
Do you feel like maybe you guys haven't totally found the identity on offense yet?
I think early in the season you're always searching for like what is that like how can we best function as an offense. But I think after we get a nice self-scout after this game and get into the bye, get some guys healthy back on the offensive side, I think we'll start finding that identity. But at the end of the day, as long as we find wins, like you can find the identity. But the key part is finishing and finding a way to win the football game.
Well, guys are out. Is there kind of a sense of just survive them, win it now you can, and then figure out that identity later once you have all the pieces to actually do it? I imagine Mike Thomas is a big piece of.
Oh, he's a huge piece.
Yeah.
Well, no. I mean, I believe these guys, like Marquez and Chris Hogan, like we've had guys that stepped up in a amazing way. Kenny Stills, I hate they call that touchdown back with him. We have guys that stepped up in a tremendous way, but obviously defenses, they have to plan for our star players. When you add Mike Thomas, when you add Traquan Smith, those guys, like, that's an alarm that's ringing. You know what I'm saying? Like, now they can't just focus on Alvin Kamara. You know what I'm saying? They got to focus on these other people that are around where they don't have much film. Like, they got a lot of film on Chris Hogan. They don't have much film on Marquez Callaway. They don't have much film on Deontay Harris. You know what I'm saying? Like, at the receiver position. So as a defensive coach, you're going to plan for what you see, and that's why they plan a lot to stop Alvin, and that's why our guys have been stepping up in the past few games.
It seems the past 2 weeks some of the communication, protection issues have been ironed out a little bit. Would you agree with that? And what are some of the changes y'all have made to kind of improve?
I think the biggest change that we made is, me and Caesar are get on the same page. People forget that was his first time playing center in the NFL. That Carolina game with actually noise. So communication was big there after you come off a COVID year where you don't have any crowd at all. So the biggest thing is we got that fixed, but we got to continue to work there. We got to continue to focus on our protections and make sure we protect it so we can roll.
Jameis, there was a stretch, I think 14 plays where you didn't attempt to pass in this last week's game. You scored a touchdown on the drives that ended up working out kind of, but
right.
when you're going that long without throwing, is it hard to stay in a rhythm? Like, how does that kind of work?
Yeah, I think that's why I said Coach did a great job of helping me get into a rhythm. But, like, man, once you get to the end of the game and you're up by 2 scores, like, I know as a play caller, like, my thing is, like, let's run it down the throat, right? What does that do? That milks the clock. We got one of the best offensive lines in the NFL, and we got one of the best backs in the NFL. So, like, what's the easiest thing? Let's protect the football, let's run the football, and let's get some first downs by running the ball and take some time off our defense. That's been our formula a lot, in these first few games. So, it's been working. This game, we just didn't finish. It didn't turn out the way that we wanted it to turn out.
What happened on that delay game? I couldn't figure out whether it was was it a call not going to come?
I mean, it was. We had Dwayne Washington in for a play designed for AK, so it was kind of like an AK just had toted the ball like 6 times in a row. So again, with Tony getting hurt, it kind of put a lot on him, and we designed the play for AK, and we didn't have the right personnel for that play, so we just took the delay.
Jameis, you've played against several Ron Rivera coached teams over your career. What are some of the general themes that you see when you're watching one of his teams?
Eyes on the quarterback. They always attack the ball really well. Always have a good defensive line and long, rangy corners. And I know they're going to be very well disciplined.
You said before that you'd like to earn the opportunity to have more on your plate. What are some of those things you'd like to earn to have on your plate? Like, what are some of those things that you...
Well, I think that comes with, the game, the flow of the game for the most part, right? Like, getting in a 2-minute drive. I haven't had a chance to really do a 2-minute drive at the end of the half, besides the one in Carolina, and both of those at Carolina, right? So being able to take advantage of those opportunities when it comes to be able to get some passing numbers up. Like that's what I mean by earning opportunity, like by the situation, you know.
How you and Taysom are being used. Have you ever had a situation like this before, even in your college or pro career, where it's I don't want to say it's a 2 quarterback system, but that role he plays where sometimes you come out, like Drew came off, does that affect you at all? It seems like you kind of dig some of his stuff. I saw you run down and congratulate him.
No, I think it's 2 different types of energies, man. He's coming in and he can do it all, you know. So I'm rooting for him. Like it's all a part of our, again, like that's our identity that we have. You know, we have some packages where he's getting in there and he's toting the rock. We got some packages where he's getting in and throwing, you know. The part that I play is be able to manage this team, be able to lead us to a win. Like that's all I'm concerned with. Like I know that we have a bunch of great players on this team, and we got to use them for our benefit. You know what I'm saying? Like I think, you know, that takes some pressure off of me being able to put Taysom in there and just throwing the uncertainty of like what you're going to get when Taysom is in the game. You know, I think that puts us in a lot of positive advantages when he's throwing out there.
What's going through your mind when you're lined up out there at wide receiver? You staying throwing the ball?
I'm just saying, if he come out where I got to get me a nice block, man. You know, I wish he would throw me. I tell him all the time, like, put me in a read. Like, I can make something happen, but they never want me in a read. But
for a linebacker to hit.
Man, if I can, like I tell Taysom all the time, like, hey, bro, you know, I can block too. Like, come on, man, don't diminish my street cred. I can block.
And then throwing to him, it seems like you're kind of. I mean, you had a couple nice completions to him. It's kind of interesting to have a guy like that, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's marvelous. Like I said, like I know I talk about this offensive line a lot, which they deserve all the credit. I know I talk about Alvin a lot, but like Taysom the same way. Like when you got a teammate like that is just amazing at everything that they do, you know, that helps out the team. That helps with rhythm. That helps with identity, and it helps, you know, with Sean as a play caller.
It's been like getting to work with Kenny Stills. You kind of mentioned that the touchdown got called.
No, it's been great, man. You know, just because he's a savvy veteran player. He's very familiar with this offense, and he's explosive. Like you saw that in the reel that he had. Like he's very explosive. So I enjoy having another deep threat target.